and warm welcome to our show, Efauji Talks, an IESECCI initiative which promises to get inspiring stories and brilliant speakers on board each episode. I am Shavinder, the brand head of this show, and we are currently showcasing the spirit of womanhood for our Choose to Challenge series. And who better than Dr. Sindhu Nair? And she has really been very commendable at her work that she's been doing. And hi, and welcome to the show.
Hi, Shavenda. Thank you so much for having me on this forum.
Great. So before we start the conversation, I want my viewers to get know more about our speaker today. Well, Dr. Sindhu Nair is currently working as postdoctoral fellow researching pancreatic and lung cancer in City of Hope National Medical Center, California. Born, brought up in Mangalore, Karnataka, and went on to complete her undergraduate and master's degree in dentistry. But that's amazing. I was, when reading your profile, I was wondering dentistry and then cancer. Oh, amazing. She also worked as assistant professor in dental college for a year before realizing that she was interested in the field of cancer research and decided to apply for PhD program in the United States. She then moved to US in 2016 to do her PhD in cancer biology at the University of Alabama at Birmingham with her research focus on brain cancer and recently graduated in August 2021. Congratulations on your new achievement.
Thank you so much.
Great. So, without wasting any further time, I really want to talk and know more about you and your work. So, what made you to switch from the field of dentistry to, a career in cancer research?
So before I answer that really quickly, I should have said this before, but I want to commend you on this initiative that you've taken, having these talks and getting all these guests on the forum, because so many different people, so many interesting stories and people who have done different things. It's inspirational. So congrats to you for, successfully hosting this forum.
Thank you so much. All because of you good speakers that we have on board each episode.
Well, I know I'm not as accomplished as some of the speakers you've had before, but hopefully my story probably is insightful for someone or help someone in some way. Okay, so to answer your question, actually, I pretty much all the kids in India, when we are younger, if you're asked, what do you want to do when you grow up? It's either doctor or engineer, right? So when I was younger, I think when everybody asked me, I was I want to be a doctor. That was my standard answer. And I think when I reached 18 years old, I decided, I realized I had to make a decision, what do I want to do? And then, of course, I wanted to go into the medical field. And so I ended up in an undergraduate program in dentistry, which is something I enjoyed so much. And it's something that I pursued. And then once I graduated from my undergrad, I decided that, I wanted to specialize further in the subject. And that's when I decided to do my master's. My master's actually is a turning point because I had some great mentors. Some of the professors that I had kind of put that first ideas in my mind about research, because during my master's is when I first started doing research, because I had to finish a thesis. And that's what got me interested in cancer research, because my research project back then was in oral cancer, because it's associated with dentistry. So that's how I got interested in that. But once I graduated, I kind of feel like we all have this streamline. Okay, you graduated, now this is going to be your career path. This is how you go forward. So I kind of went into that. And you said, I started teaching in one of the dental colleges in Mangalore. And teaching is something I really enjoyed. But I think I reached a point in my career where I realized that there was a point of complacency where I was going to work, but I feel like I wasn't getting a lot from what I was doing as much as I enjoyed it. And I also realized that I was very interested in a career in research. I realized that I wanted to do more in that. Unfortunately, the problem, I'd say in India, or maybe I don't know much about this, but I've realized that if you pick a career option in India, you kind of stay with it, right, for the next few years. It's very difficult to switch to something else or pursue something else. So I really wanted to go into research, but because I had a background in dentistry, that wasn't really helping me. So that's when I realized, like, let me think of like pursuing something outside India. And I've always been interested in like travel and things like that. So the US, I realized, had a lot of funding for research programs. Like a lot of countries in the world have research programs, but for cancer research, I realized the US had a lot of programs with a lot of funding. So I kind of like directed my attention here. And that's how I got like a fellowship into a PhD program here at the University of Alabama at Birmingham. So I decided to go with it. And I still remember how nervous I was to make that decision, because it's not easy to like switch your career like after that many years. Like I had already finished my master's and I was working, and then I decided I want to switch. So it's very hard at that point to make that decision. But I'm so glad I made that decision, because I do not regret a single thing. And I'm really happy where I am right now. So yeah, I did 5 years of my PhD. I graduated recently, and I started working full time as a researcher now in a hospital in California.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that experience of your life. My immediate next question obviously is that, how important it is to be open to an alternative career, especially in this time and age, because, at times
Absolutely.
we are so we don't take a right decision at the right time, and you took that decision. So can you just enlighten more on that, how important it is for our viewers to know that?
Yeah, that's a great question, because here's the thing. I've realized that we are a country of such a huge population, right? So we have like at least 500 million something people, who like children who are growing up with like innovative thinking and minds. And it's really sad that we kind of get streamlined into certain career options, right? Because these are considered like successful options. You become a doctor or an engineer or a lawyer or an architect. These are high paying professions. But we have reached a point right now where it's all saturated, right? You have the medical field, a ton of doctors. You come to the engineering field, you have like so many engineers. So how exactly is it a successful career option if you find roadblocks in each of these career options? So I really wish, like when I was 18, I had options that I could think about, right? Like I could probably pursue something that's not what's the standard. So I would have totally taken that chance. But back then, of course, like, my parents wanted me to pursue a certain thing. I also wanted to pursue that. So it's things like that. But when you get older, you realize you wish you could go back and do things differently. But I have no regrets. I'm very happy where I am right now. But honestly, I wish that people would actually start pursuing other options. Research, for example, we have such a bright population, and we have the manpower to actually make use of discoveries. So if something is discovered, like even outside India, for example, the vaccines, right? The COVID vaccines, it was like the research was AstraZeneca, but where is it being produced, mass produced in India? Because we have the manpower at Serum Institute in Pune where they can mass produce the vaccine. So we have the manpower. So why not come up with the research? Why not come up with the ideas, right? And we have such a huge population. So this is such a great opportunity for people to actually start looking into other fields, like, be it research or like something, be in the arts, in the literature. There's so many avenues out there, and you can be successful in these avenues. It's just involves taking that risk, right? And that's where I feel like we hold back a little bit, because we want to be in that secure lane, and we don't want to take those risks. So I honestly feel like we as a population should start thinking about taking, more risks career wise.
Great, thank you, Dr. Sindhu, because I'm an academician, been heading these schools for almost 10 years plus now. And I really feel that, our young minds have a lot of energy and a lot of innovative, creative ideas. So why do we get stuck to one profession or, and when we have opportunities, why not explore them? Thank you so much. The young minds are really going to get inspired to their answer. So, what has this experience taught you? Obviously, every experience leads to some kind of lesson learning
Yeah.
or experiences for that. So, what
Yeah.
is that you learned?
I think the biggest lesson I've learned is that it's okay to take risks, right? It's all right, like what age you are or what stage of your career or life you're in. If you can, like obviously, you have factors to think about, like your family and things like that. But if you can, and if you're willing to take that risk, you should totally take it, because it pays off so much. Like it pays off so well in the long run. So I feel like I realized that taking risks actually helps, because there's that initial phase where you start questioning yourself, like, what have I done? And, and even taking that risk takes so much courage, because, for example, leaving India, where I've grown up all my life, and then uprooting myself from my social circle and what I've known educationally in every way, and then uprooting myself to a different country where, like, I don't know anybody, and then I moved to a city where I don't know the culture, I don't know how things work. So, but it's you're exposing yourself to a new culture, right? You're exposing yourself to new things, learning new things, and having a different way of thinking. And that's what I think is so important, because now I have a different perspective which I didn't have in India. And I feel like these kind of risks help you, like, think differently. And secondly, I think complacency. I realized, like, I like doing new things, learning new things, like keeping myself involved. And I realized, like, doing a job and not learning anything new from it was kind of, I was not happy with that. So I think the complacency bit is what I'd say. And thirdly, it's just the experience of going to a new country and experiencing all of this. Like, I I got to learn a new culture. I've made great friends here, and I've got to travel, and I really enjoyed that part as well. So these are some of the things I've actually learned from this experience.
Yeah, I can see some common interests. I feel that travel gives you a lot of learning
Oh,
experiences.
absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. And the way you teach your children or you learn yourself while you're
Hmm.
traveling, it's actually commendable. And also, uh, as you mentioned about, taking risk, I always feel take risk which is for your benefit, and why not? Change is always constant, that's,
Absolutely.
and,
Yeah.
and if it is for your benefit, why not use it for your benefit?
Yeah.
Wonderful. So my viewers would also like to know more about your research, and my obviously next question is like, how can what all careers are there in the research?
So initially, like, during my PhD, my research was focused on brain cancers. So I was trying to understand how, like, in the cells, the tumor cells within a brain cancer, how they talk to each other and they function and do things like that. And then, so now in my new job, I'm actually investigating lung and pancreatic cancers. And what I'm doing is we are studying this nanobiotechnology. So we are looking at, like, nanometer sized particles, which have these chemotherapeutic drugs, right? And what I'm trying to see is how these drugs go to the pancreatic and lung cancer cells when we treat them with this with this chemotherapy, and then we see how it goes inside the cell, what it does, and, like, it's at a very, very microscopic level, where basically we are trying to see how this therapy and how this therapy goes into the cells and what exactly it is doing to the lung and pancreatic cancer cells. So it's pretty exciting, because standard chemotherapy is pretty painful, like, to cancer patients, right? Because you would have seen, like, they lose hair, and, like, they have a nausea and vomiting all the time, and overall it just affects them so badly. So the research that I'm working on is very, very focused and targeted only to the cancer, and it doesn't affect, or to a lesser extent, it affects the rest of the body. So it's very focused, or it's called precision medicine. So we focus exactly on the area of the cancer, and we try to get the nanoparticle sized drug into the cancers. So that's
Like
something that I'm working on now.
this remind me something what we call in Forge as surgical strikes.
Surgical strikes, absolutely. I think that's a good analogy. Yeah.
Yes, all right, great. So I'm a Fauji wife and a Fauji daughter, so always think that way.
Yeah. Attack.
All right, great. So how important is cancer awareness, and how can we do a part in that?
Very important, honestly, because if you look at the cancer statistics in India right now, about, I think if I remember right, it's like about 98 people per 1 lakh are diagnosed with cancer. So it's that small of a fraction, and it's increasing every year, which makes sense because of the change in dietary habits, our lifestyle, and things like that. The predisposition to cancers are higher now. So what people need to know is that the most common cancers in India actually are oral cancer because of the tobacco chewing habits. Then there's lung cancer because of smoking. And then there's breast cancer and cervical cancer. So these are the most common cancers in India. And all of these are entirely avoidable just by early testing and awareness. The first thing I'd say is that just self-examining, right? We have an intuitive, like, I think as human beings, intuitively we know when something is wrong with our body. So I keep telling, like, listen to your body. Like, if something is going wrong, if you feel something is like weird, we are the first ones to know it, right? In the smallest way possible. So the moment you feel that, go to a doctor, get it checked. And we know that, like, everybody right now knows a relative or somebody who's had cancer, right? So I tell people that who have had immediate relatives, like say their mother or their grandmother, especially with breast cancer, if they have had a relative, a very close, like a genetically related relative, like a mother or a grandmother, those women should definitely get tested for like breast cancer. Like, go get mammograms done regularly, get checkups once a year, self palpation, things like that. Those are important. For cervical cancers, pap smears. Like, so a lot of women know, and this forum is for women, right? So a lot of women know, like, breast examination is important, getting mammograms is important, pap smears are very important to discover cervical cancer early. So these are a lot of ways in which you can actually discover cancers early on so that they're easier to treat. A lot of times people ignore this, they don't go for checkups, and they discover the cancer in like stage 3 or stage 4 when it's so hard to treat, when it's already spread everywhere. So cancer awareness, I feel, as much as dietary and lifestyle awareness is nowadays, like, how doctors tell you eat well and exercise and things like that, at the same time, you also need to have awareness of diseases, right? And how you can avoid it. So I feel like cancer is avoidable just by like listening to yourself and getting those regular checkups. And it's so important, because you may have seen how much people suffer when they're diagnosed with cancer and they undergo chemotherapy, and it's just depressing. So if it's avoidable, I feel like we can take those steps and be careful right from the start.
Thank you so much. That is a very important awareness, that most of the time in this busy schedule, we are like avoiding all that. And especially for women, when she's juggling between, work and life and house and office. So my appeal to the viewers, especially the women, that, we must take first priority if anything that we feel is not being, not agreeing to our system. So definitely. So one last important question, Dr. Sindhu, I would like to, though I want to ask many more questions. We all are undergoing this pandemic, unprecedented time, the thoughts and all. So what are your, tips or advices to the youth, how to keep themselves, maybe focus, or to stay, for that matter, happy in whatever situation they are? What would you like to say on that?
Well, the pandemic, I think, has been hard on everybody, because every time we feel things are getting better, a new variant comes up, and then, life is upended again. So I feel at this point, what we can only do is like focus on what we have and not focus on like what could happen, because things can change any minute. So I feel like if you have, as simple as if you have a stable job right now, and if you have healthy family members, just be happy about that for now. And then we can like dream about things when things get better, because plans change all the time. And I just feel like it's important that everybody does their job and, like, be safe, and prevent COVID from spreading by being responsible all the time. So it's just very hard, I'd say, because even I've had my low points during the pandemic. So it's a learning experience, and I feel like it's better to focus on now than just being bitter about what happened or like what could happen. So I just feel like just focus on now.
Great. Thank you so much, Dr. Sindhu. It's a beautiful message that we have wrapped up this interview with, that, focus on today. Stay what we have and be happy with that. So dreams don't work unless you do it. And you're a true example of that, Dr. Sindhu Nair. And thank you so much for joining us. And I wish you all the very best for all your future endeavors.
Thank you so much. And I hope you have good luck and keep having this forum happening. We get more and more like speakers and with inspirational stories. So good luck with that.
Thank you so much. So if you wish to share more inspiring stories, please contact me at shavi@efaujitalks.com. I thank all my viewers. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And today's show, which was hosted for Dr. Sindhu, she has actually shared a lot of value addition to this show. And do not forget to write your comments. And thank you so much. For more interesting stories, stay tuned. Till then, Jai Hind.
Fauji Talks is brought to you by IESECCI, Indian Ex-Defence Service Employees Chamber of Commerce and Industries. Thanks to its vast veteran network and global and pan-India associates, IESECCI can carry out various commerce facilitations and CSR projects across India and the world. Some of IESECCI's core capability areas are Skill India, Atmanirbhar Bharat, Digital India, any ex-serviceman welfare or job program, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan related projects, telemedicine and healthcare training and job scheme, Save Water scheme, defence industry SME, MSME cluster and hub development, maritime training and inland water training with job facilitation, Canada study, job and permanent residency opportunity, e-commerce, Andaman and Nicobar commerce opportunities. IESECCI's global reach includes countries like Indonesia, Slovakia, Canada, Nepal, Singapore, Rwanda, USA, UK. Above all, it is IESECCI's effort to create a veterans brand made by the veterans, for the veterans and made up of the veterans. Every Indian's support is invaluable in this journey. IESECCI is a registered society for ex-servicemen's welfare and envisions that every veteran should be a part of India's economic growth story. It is the aim of IESECCI to create an enabling commerce platform that will empower and synergize the veterans' talent pool. This is possible only with the support of entrepreneurs, businesses and consultants from civil society. All proceeds, if any, are utilized for the welfare of ex-servicemen and for public charity.